Imagine what it was like on that day. How did or would you feel during this type of event? Maybe you were there assisting with the response or recovery of the incident. This unexpected event on August 11th, 2014 prompted another event in the following days and weeks, the influx of volunteer support.
This introductory video will help you understand why a Volunteer Reception Center, or VRC, is a critical tool for coordinating volunteers and who plays a key role in its operation.
On August 11 of 2014, there was severe flooding in southeast Michigan. A lot of the damage was both public and private, and it required a lot of assistance through volunteer programs to assist with the cleanup of basements to prevent molding and other serious health issues.
Volunteers are going to show up to help with resources and experiences, and we need to be able to provide a place for them to show up to.
So why do you think people volunteer during a type of disaster? When it comes down to it, people volunteer for a variety of reasons. They want to help their friends and neighbors, they want to be part of a solution, they want to bring their community back to normal. We see such damage and destruction on such a large scale that we feel compelled to do something. They want to help the people in need, and they want to make sure that once their family is taken care of, that they can help take care of the rest of the community.
For the cleanup phase, we saw many community organizations assisting the emergency management program with these cleanups. So one of the problems that the emergency managers encountered was the coordination between the volunteers and the victims.
Post-disaster, there are a number of things that need to be done. Without organization, you're going to miss an opportunity to put a specific skill set into play where it's really necessary. You're going to miss those opportunities to really leverage the skill set the volunteer can bring and put it to where it's really needed.
Volunteering helps them keep their mind off the disaster. It all boils down to one thing: the compassion they have for their community.
Unlike affiliated volunteers, spontaneous volunteers have never been through a background check and have no disaster credentialing. They have many specific skill sets, but then the question is, how do we take those skill sets and capture them and allow them to volunteer? Volunteer Reception Center is activated once we get to the point where we can no longer manage the scene on our own. We need to bring in those volunteers that have that specific skill set and allow them to come forward and to assist us. A Volunteer Reception Center provides centralized organization and provides support with trained staff to interview the volunteers and then put them where they're needed.
Welcome and thank you for volunteering today. Everyone should have a temporary badge. This badge should be visible at all times. Your safety is our highest priority at the VRC. Volunteers will be asked to review and fill out the Volunteer Liability Waiver and Release and the Volunteer Code of Conduct form.
Hello, thank you for volunteering with us today. We know your time is valuable and we appreciate your support. We're gonna review your registration form. All right, your day phone number is 313-555-555. Yep. And your evening number is that same number as well. All right. And you've listed your friend Tim as your emergency contact, is that correct? All right. And they can be reached at 517-777-777. All right. And were any of your family affected by the disaster? No. Or any past disasters? All right. And do you have some family at home? And do they need any care or arrangements to be made at this time?
No, we do not.
All right. Any past military deployments?
No.
Any other applicable follow-up questions you feel are necessary in order for you to volunteer? Okay.
Okay, so Matt, thank you for volunteering with us again today. I noticed that from your registration that you have some experience in Crime Watch. Can you just give me a little bit of information on that?
Sure, I worked with the local Crime Watch prevention program that was put in place.
Okay, all right, great. And do you have any past volunteer experience?
I do, local food in Lansing.
All right. So with your skills and interests, I would say that the best match with you or for you would be ARC Shelter. Does that sound like something that you'd be interested in?
Yes.
All right. Well, then I will take over your information to assignment.
Hey Matt, thank you for volunteering today. Can I see your form? Thank you. All right, so I can see from your form here, you have some experience working in Crime Watch, as well as some food serving and that kind of stuff.
Correct.
Based on the recommendation of my friend over there, it sounds like the ARC Shelter is going to be the best location for you to volunteer. Is that something you're willing to do?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna have a runner grab the shelter form, and then I'm gonna get you off to our next station in credentialing.
Okay.
All right? All right, I wanna thank you for volunteering, and if you wanna just head right off over there.
Sure.
Thank you.
Hey, Matt, welcome and thank you for volunteering with us today. Verify I have your information, and we're going to go ahead and make a wristband for you. I ask that you keep this on you at all times through your entire volunteering process. Again, I ask that you keep this on you at all times. Is that comfortable?
Yep.
Again, thank you for volunteering with us. You're all set. You're going to go over to the training area now.
Thank you.
Thank you folks for coming today and volunteering with us. At this training station, we'll be giving you some basic training levels. Anything additional you need specific to your assignment, you'll be given at that time. Let's talk about code of conduct for a second. During your deployment with us, we expect you to treat all victims with respect, honor all victims, volunteers and responders, communicate clearly. If in doubt, ask. Ensure volunteer safety always. Work within the scope of your credentials, your training, and your comfort level. Honor the code of conduct and confidentiality agreement. A little bit on personal health and safety. Follow the instructions given to you at your job site. Follow all instructions given to you by your supervisor. They will have up-to-date safety precautions on site. Take care of yourself first. Ask for behavioral health, first aid if necessary. That's for yourself. Work within the scope of your training, experience, comfort level, and personal limitations. All incident work sites can be potentially hazardous and uncomfortable. Be aware of any required immunizations, prophylactics, or personal protection equipment, PPEs. All volunteers must clearly wear identification badges given to you at the Volunteer Reception Center, and they must be worn while you're on deployment with us. Children can also be of assistance to us in a disaster. We'll need a parental liability waiver. If an accident or injury occurs, immediately notify your supervisor. All life safety emergencies, call 911. Critical response for any accident involving vehicles, call 911. Notify your supervisor, team leader. If you'll be working outside, dress appropriately for the weather, boots, possibly gloves, a hat. Always be conscious of debris on the ground, that type of thing. Sometimes sharp things are dangerous. Cold, windy conditions require monitoring of your self for frostbite or hypothermia. Be aware of that. Bring gloves, a work screen, or insect repellent if you have them. You're responsible for any safety and security of your own tools if you use them. Water may be available at your work site, but we encourage you to take a container with you. Make sure you hydrate. Drink plenty of water. A little bit on personal protective equipment. While you're working, you may have a higher exposure than normal to bacteria, contagions, or toxic materials. If death injuries have occurred in the area where you are working, there will be bacteria. When you take a break, make sure you wash your hands thoroughly. Use personal protective equipment, masks, gloves, sanitizers, that sort of thing, when instructed to do so within your job responsibilities. Protection against insects, ticks or mosquitoes. Make sure you use a bug spray with DEET. You will be given necessary personal protection at the beginning of your job assignment on site. A little bit about psychological first aid. The work you will be doing, you may experience stress, anxiety, fear, other strong emotions. You are providing a valuable service by volunteering today. Please understand, by helping, you will not be able to change the effects of this event. All we can do is assist others in the recovery process. Be cautious, compassionate with yourself and others during this challenging time or event. It's natural to feel frustrated or guilty that you can't fix everything. Keep it simple. Work your shift, go home, and rest, and replenish. Be sure to attend briefings for volunteers that might be at the end of your shift. When you arrive at your work site, there will be possibility of encountering victims. Follow the instructions at your job site for that need. If you need help, ask for it. Personal limitations. Follow carefully any instructions that might be given to you at your job site. Know and state your limitations, physical, emotional, psychological, and or spiritual. If you are injured, become ill on the job, even mildly, report it to your supervisor and follow the instructions. Both Volunteer Reception Center and Emergency Operations Center will need to be notified. A little bit about our incident command. All volunteers will be following and reporting an incident command structure known as ICS. ICS provides organizational structure in emergency. There is an ICS commander who has responsibility for the entire event, who may or may not be present. There is a site manager who has specific responsibility for your site. There is a safety officer as well, whose responsibility for everyone's safety. Within the site, there may be 4 functional sections: operations, logistics, planning, and finance and administration. You may be provided with a colored vest, lanyards, armbands, or hats to help identify your section. This makes it easy identification for personnel carrying out their functions. You will be reporting to only one supervisor. All outgoing information requests must go through the Media Public Information Officer. It is important to do so and not communicate with media unless you're directed to do so as part of your job duties. Documentation of all activities is critical. Make sure you complete any documentation required of you. Thank you for coming today.
Welcome. Do you have your volunteer deployment checklist with you? Okay. I'm just going to go over a few things on your volunteer deployment checklist with you real quick. Okay. Seems you have all the necessary contact information. Let's see, do you have your volunteer assignment card with you with your ID, please? Should be. Okay. Yep. Inside the package, you're going to have who your supervisor will be and directions to the site. Now, we would not be issuing you any equipment for the site for this deployment, so you will not have an equipment log. So in here is the directions to the sites and your information on who your supervisor will be. Do you have any questions?
I do not.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good luck. Thanks for volunteering. Hey, Matt.
Hi.
How was your experience with us today?
It was great.
Wonderful. Thank you for volunteering with us. Your time is greatly appreciated. In this folder, you're going to find other volunteer opportunities within the community. What you're also going to find is how you can become part of a volunteer team for future volunteer opportunities such as this. So if you get in there, you're able to go online and sign up, and you'll already be pre-credentialed for the next time.
Okay.
Thank you again very much for volunteering with us today.
Thank you.
Hi Matt, how was your volunteering experience?
It was great.
All right, can I see your forms?
Yep.
All right, so As always, we want to make sure that your experience is okay. You didn't have any extreme amount of stress or anything? No. Okay. Because if you did, we'd always offer to, send you to behavioral health to just, talk it out and make sure that everything's okay. So I'm going to take the forms that you have. I see that you filled out our ICS 221, which is the demobilization form. Looks like everybody signed off on it and everything looks great. And you had nothing deployed with you? No equipment or anything?
No.
Okay. Any feedback you want to provide to us? Anything that could be improved for next time? Anything like that?
No, it's just a great experience.
All right. I'm going to thank you again. And if you could please sign out on our sign out form just so we keep track of everybody we have here.
Sure.